Okay?
I remember that, yeah.
And the point is, he was held in chains of darkness. See, they know there comes a time in the future.
They know there's a judgment coming.
And seeing Jesus on the scene was a stark reminder of the terminality of their pathway. The point of all of this, Jonathan, is that there is a judgment coming, but there is not torment. Okay? The Scriptures haven't yet told us of torment. They have told us of judgment. Now, folks, there is a world of difference between those two. I want to digress for a moment and just refer back to that website we were talking about earlier, because on that website, they had a recording of what they said were somebody somewhere in Siberia had drilled a hole and found the gates of hell. Okay, now right here and now you're going to say, that sounds pretty suspicious, and that's exactly what I said. But they had a sound recording that they said that they lowered this microphone, and there was no date on the article. I'm not sure. I'm just sort of reporting what I heard and what I saw and what I read. They lowered a microphone down and they record these screams. Okay, and you hear 30 seconds of screaming. All these voices screaming, some high and some low, and on and on and on. And you think, okay. One of the things that provoked me in terms of getting involved in doing this subject was hearing that. Because to me, what it came down to was this. God is the creator. God, we look at as a God of great wisdom and great power, great justice, great love, and great mercy. He has got all of these attributes. Would God, this great creator, create such a race of beings that gets so far out of hand that the vast majority of them have to be tormented forever? I mean, I can't fit those two things into my mind. Okay, I can understand being punished. I can understand consequences for actions. I can understand justice. I can understand an eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth. I can understand those things. But I cannot understand torment forever. Because the question you have to raise when you're dealing with this issue is, there's a number of questions, and as we're running out of time, I just want to lay these out, because this is important stuff. Is qualification for heaven based on your character or based on your belief? Now be careful how you answer that. Okay? If it's based on your character, then does it matter what you believe? If it's based on your belief, then it doesn't matter who you are. Can you have somebody who does not have the kind of belief that is really, really strong, but has a very, very good character, versus someone who has a very strong belief but a not so good character? What happens? Where do you draw the line with those people? We're going to have to take the first call that came in, and it's going to have to be really quick because we're just about out of time.
Welcome to the program. Who are we speaking with?
Peter.
Yes, go ahead. Very quickly, sir.
Okay, one complements the other. But it's
character and belief you're talking about.
Yeah,
okay.
Because like Larry said, but on a larger scale, you have to always be after the wrongs and those who would subject others to suffering, like starvation, like abortion, like the things that are wrong. And I know you have some callers that say, "Oh, God did this," and God. Well, unfortunately, they still have a good side that they haven't seen through yet, and it's we're there to keep them supported, so they don't fall under that influence of the dark side. It's not like space wars or anything. It's just that there is a devil, there is that, and we accept it, and you just always have to be vigilant and speak out. If you don't, then what you're doing is going along with that, and that is going to be how you're judged.
Well, good, and I think that makes a lot of sense. Peter,
let me let you get back.
Thank
I know
you.
you're pressed for time.
Yes.
Thanks, Peter.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
And Jonathan, I'm sorry we're not going to be able to take this other call because we just don't have the time to do it here. I'm just reminded of the quote we started the program with, to sin by silence when they should protest makes cowards of men. And I think there's something to be said for that. This is an issue that is, first of all, it's based in religion. Okay, so we have belief systems as we started the program with, and all of that. And it's a very emotional issue. The idea, I'm sorry, we can't take calls at this point. It's just too late. Call next week and let us know what you were thinking. That'll be fine. But in dealing with the emotion, one of the things we need to do is be able to step back and look at it and say, okay, what are we taught about these things? And to me, when I look at the scriptures, there is a consistent message. God says to Adam, essentially, the wages of sin is death. Mm-hmm. That's what he says. Jesus doesn't say anything more than that. In the New Testament, we read you at least a half a dozen of scriptures, more than that. It talked about death and destruction as the end result. We looked at the symbol of this valley of Hinnom, and it was a place of destruction. Think about it. In those days, when Jesus was teaching, nobody that he was teaching would have looked at it as a place of torture.
That's right.
Because that's not what it was used for.
Think about God's character when he said it didn't come into his mind
right.
that they would sacrifice live children to this false god Baal.
And that's why he said, wipe out everything there and just leave the place desolate. Leave it desolate, because it was such an abhorrence to the character of the Creator. So we're looking at this issue, and you have to, I think anyway, you have to ask yourself these questions. If God is benevolent and loving and just and merciful, justice, perfect justice, the longest extent of justice, can any of us in our imperfect little minds say that justice says that you do this and this and you should be punished forever? I mean, there's no balance. I mean, see, we don't get forever. I mean, think about the founding of this country back in 1776. It seems like a long time, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's 230 years? 200, yeah. That's it. That's all it is, 230 years. Now add to that 230 years, let's see, I don't know, another 1,000 years. Now that's 4 times the amount of time since the founding of this country. Now, is there a justice for a lifetime, however horrific and corrupt, 70 years of corruption? Is it just to punish that lifetime for 1,000 years? 500 years? 2,000 years? 10,000 years? How about 1,000,000 years? How about 10 million years? It doesn't fit with the character of God. God does have a way of putting sin out of the way. And see, that's the thing to remember. We're not saying, okay, everybody gets off scot-free. Oh, no, because the day of judgment is a day of purging out of sin and of godlessness and of teaching the ways of righteousness.
What's the opposite of life?
The opposite of life is death. The Scriptures teach us that. And we cannot take the Scriptures to a private interpretation. We can't take the Scriptures and say, okay, I want it to mean this, so I I can add this or that. The Scriptures are a context that end with Revelation. Revelation tells us that that's where the revelation of God through Jesus Christ ends. We need to use those things and understand the value of God's plan. There is no fire in hell. The second death is death. It's complete, utter lack of existence. Next week, folks, we're going to talk about the idea of God permitting sorrow and suffering and pain. We're going to talk about the day of judgment and how it all fits together. For Jonathan and Rick, this is Christian Questions. There is no fire in hell. Think about it.